Everybody, good evening. We started discussing the different acronyms that the month of Elul brings and represents. Now, when we take a look at all the months of the year, there doesn't seem to be any other month where our sages are grappling to try to find a hint which is going to signify the true essence of what Elul is. We don't find that, in the month of Tishrei, they're trying to find a hint in the Torah for Tishrei or for Nisan. We don't find it, but by Elul, our sages are always trying to find a certain significance or something that's going to awaken within us the idea behind what's going on with Elul. So the verse that everyone knows and has come to know very well is a verse in Shir HaShirim in chapter 6, verse number 3. And that verse tells us, Ani ledodi v'dodi li. I am for my beloved and my beloved is for me. And herein really contains the essence of what Elul's all about. And the first letters of this word spell the month of Elul. The Medrash in Eicha Rabbah explains the following. It says, there's an ongoing dialogue between Hashem and the Jewish people regarding how to affect the process of tshuva, of how to come back. And when we take a look at the gap that is formed between the Jewish people and the creator of the universe, and we want to try and rectify it and close that gap, so Hashem generally says to us that it's up to us to make the first move. He says, this is your time to shine. This is your time where sometimes in a relationship, there's different aspects of the relationship. Who's going to initiate coming first? Who's going to initiate apologizing? Who's going to initiate bringing this relationship back to where it's meant to be? And so the Jewish people respond that God should initiate the action, and they say, bring us back to you, and Hashem, we will return. Ani ledodi v'dodi li. But the thing is that we would think that really it starts off with God. Elul comes to awaken within us a whole different way of looking at it. And that is that the whole energy starts with us. It starts with Ani ledodi v'dodi li. I am for my beloved, and my beloved is for me. There's another pasuk in Shir HaShirim as well that says, Dodi li v'ani lo. My beloved is for me and I am for him. So we would think, what is this? Is it Dodi li? Or is it Ani ledodi? Is it that the first step should be initiated by the creator of the universe? Or should we be the ones who are trying to initiate this relationship with Hashem? What are we trying to do? What's going to be more powerful? So Elul is the time that is described as a time of awakening. The time of hisoirari, when we ask that we are awakened during this time. We blow the shofar. The shofar representing the time of emancipation, the time where Hashem is giving us this opportunity, where Moshe Rabbeinu ascended to Mount Sinai on Rosh Chodesh Elul for 40 days to receive the Torah, and the Jewish people became aware of their responsibilities that they have in this world during this time period. This is where we started to realize that the potential that we have is held all in the entire creation is in our hands. This is where we have the ability to be able to connect ourselves to perfecting ourselves, to becoming the center of creation, becoming really what Hashem has decided and put us there in order to do. But it really begins with us. And the shofar arouses us to this auspicious day, the auspicious day of Rosh Hashanah, where we start to realize that we have to give din v'cheshbon. We have to give a judgment and we have to give accounting. We have to give a judgment on everything that we've done wrong, and we have to give accounting for everything we haven't done right, and how we haven't spent our time. We have to make sure that everything goes on with this judgment that we want it to be unbelievable. And this is a chance that the Creator of the universe is giving us in order to awaken ourselves. Every day during this time period is the time to do a cheshbon, a nefesh, to look into our souls and to recognize how we've tainted our souls and tainted the relationships around us. And it's our opportunity to re-establish ourselves again, to begin this process of realizing that it all begins with us. It's taking control over our own lives. It's taking control over our destinies. It's taking control over everything that we are able to take control over. And that's ourselves. Most people think that they control other people and they can tell other people what to do and how, the people around them. And our sages really tell us that there was a human being who would want to try to go and change the world. And then they realized they couldn't change the world, so they then tried to go and change the city. And they couldn't change the city because it was too difficult, so they thought they could change the neighborhood. And they realized that was also too difficult to change the neighborhood. So they just wanted to try and change the people in his house. And he realized he can't even change the people in his house. And he realized that he has to change himself before he could even change anyone else. Because it only begins with us. We're the only ones who can take control of our situation. And we can then realize how we can recognize our shortcomings. We can recognize the things that we have that are our strengths. And how we are able to utilize all of the things that God has given us in our situations and recognize that this is our chance to become part of Hashem's world. And in this light, there's another verse which awakens within us not only the way that the shofar is awakening the lethargic way that we are during the entire year, but there's another verse which says, Umal Hashem Elokecha es levavcha ve'es levav zarecha. And what does that mean? That's a pasuk in Devarim that we read. It says, Hashem your God will circumcise your heart and the heart of your offspring. Umal Hashem Elokecha es levavcha ve'es levav zarecha. What is he teaching us? What is this pasuk and how is it connected to Elul? Because the first letters of the verse also spell the month of Elul. And this awakening of Elul removes all the partitions. It removes all the obstacles that are in front of us. It gives us an opportunity to awaken a sensitivity to ourselves, a sensitivity for ourselves to take ourselves seriously. It shows that Hashem, who judges the world, cares about what we have to do. And we have to reorientate ourselves to know both our true selves and know how much we mean to the Creator of the universe. Hashem gave us each and every one of us an opportunity to be in this world another year. We're here, the last month of the year of Elul. And Hashem is saying, are you doing what you're meant to be doing? Are you connecting yourselves to what the true purpose of life is all about? So if we had to come along and show what the main focus and energy around Elul is, there's a verse which unites the Jewish people and gives us an opportunity to achieve the ability to once again go and receive the Torah. And that is the verse that says, Ke'ish echad u'belev echad. Like one man with one heart. What does one man and one heart mean? It means that we are able to receive Hashem's Torah, which emanated from Hashem's oneness. As we say, Hashem echad u'shemo echad. Hashem, His name is one. He is one and His name is one. And the Jewish people must also be one unified entity. They also have to be Ke'ish echad u'belev echad, because we are trying to emulate the Creator of the universe. And one of his main characteristics is one of unity and achdut. And so we as well try to emulate this through our Ke'ish echad u'belev echad power that we have to be what's called our Revim Zeh Bazeh, that we are guarantors for each other. Hashem gave us that true ability to be able to be that. And moreover, the Torah has very different mitzvahs for different people, because often people come along and they say, it's not fair because they can't fulfill these mitzvahs, and men can only fulfill these and women can't fulfill those, and the Kohanim that get called up to the Torah first, and the Levim have their mitzvahs. And Klal Yisrael have to recognize that we are all performing in one big harmonious symphony. And each and every one of us have a different instrument that we are playing. One of us might be playing the flute, another one might be playing the drums, another the guitar, the other the piano, the other one might be singing with melody, someone might be, creating a bit of a rattle over here. And when that noise all comes together, that creates a harmony, it creates music, it creates a beauty. It's something that we are able to sit and be mesmerized by such an experience. And Hashem is saying to us that the Jewish people, you are that symphony. You're that symphony because you are recognizing that each of you have an individual essence. Each and every one of us have the ani within each and every one of us. Just like Hashem came along and he said, Anoichi Hashem Elokecha, when he came and he revealed himself to the Jewish people, he represented through the word Anoichi, he became his true essence, even deeper than ani. But the ani is coming to say who I am. And when we know and we realize from a Kabbalistic point of view that our deep desire for what we want is a true representation of who we are. So when we get into the essence of knowing what we want, then we know who we really are. And the perfection of a person's I in this world is really the perfection of all the Jews. We can't just look after ourselves and say, I'm fine, but we don't have to take care of the rest of us. It means that there needs to be a collective responsibility for us all, that we have to take it seriously. Because there's another verse which is imprinted into the essence of what this means about Elul. And this is a verse which is actually, we use it for the time of Purim. And the verse is, Ish l'ra'ayu umatonot le'evyonim. Each person has to come along, Ish l'ra'ayu, a person for his neighbor, right? Has to give gifts, umatonos le'evyonim. You have to go and give gifts. That is the verse which describes giving gifts on Purim. And each person has to go and give these gifts, and the first letters also spell Elul. And we are brought about by forming closer bonds with each other. That we're making sure that the reason behind the mitzvah is that we want to create positivity with each other, and we want to go and give gifts, and we want to make sure that the people are looked after. And the word ani itself suggests this concept. The idea of a person's own individual responsibility can be that then it leads to a collective responsibility. That a person recognizes that they're part of a whole. It's not just that they are an entity outside of that. That's why for us, when we daven in a community, we create a new entity called Tzibur, right? Which has tzaddik, Beinoni, a middle one, and a Rosha, right? A righteous person, someone in between, and even someone who's evil. Because if we had 9 Jewish people that were standing around waiting, to try to make a minyan, and they can't do it because they don't have it, but then suddenly, a guy who just did a terrible Aveira, he walks past and you go, hey, come for the minyan. Guy comes in over here, he can be the terrible Rasha, but then we can stand up and we can say, Kodesh, Kodesh, Kodesh. We can come along and we can emulate and elevate a whole different reality, right? Even this guy comes along and changes the individual, right, into what's called Tzibur. It's a whole different world, and Hashem judges Tzibur completely differently. It doesn't have the same category because it unites us in a different way. And this is the power that each and every one of us have. That we can have a connecting force that creates harmony between individuals. It creates a positivity between individuals by connecting ourselves to them. And this way, a person is able to develop himself in the community and recognize that he's part of the symphony, that he's also got music to play. and sometimes it might be background music, and sometimes they are leading from the front, and each one has their own role to play. And sometimes we have to know that this isn't a one-day game. Right? We're here in it for the long term. We're in it for a long haul. And it means that we can't just jump into the whole process, because jumping into it is like jumping into a hot bath, right? And because it's so hot, then you just get burnt and you exit out quickly. It means that we have to learn how to manage the temperature, manage the expectations of ourselves and those around us, and manage the process of connecting ourselves to Hashem and recognizing the ani in everything. Because if a person isn't connected to themselves in a real, tangible way, so then they aren't able to help the community around them, because what they're doing isn't a real extension of themselves. And Elul is a time where we're going to be able to make sure that the energy that is generated from ourselves is an energy of positivity. It's an energy of connecting and recognizing the responsibility that we have with other people. And the more that we recognize that, the more we are able to build ourselves up as human beings and connect ourselves to the essence of what this is teaching us, which is the essence of Elul. And the ideas are so echoed in the Tehillim that we say, in the David Hashem Oiri, that we say twice a day during Elul. That David HaMelech, he comes along and he says the words, Achas sha'alti me'es Hashem. And I asked one thing of Hashem. And then he says, Oisa vakesh. He says, and then I had the same request. And what is that? To be shifty beveis Hashem kol yemei chayai, to dwell in the house of Hashem all the days of my life. And the sages in the Midrash say, why does it say that he had the same request? What does it mean he had the same request? So they explain that the same request that he had when he was David HaMelech, the king, all he wanted to do was to be shifty beveis Hashem kol yemei chayai. He wanted to dwell in the house of Hashem all the days of his life. And when he was a poor person who was just looking after the sheep, and he was just, the way that the family looked at him as though he was like, the runt of the family. And they didn't give him the due honor that was due to him. But he had the same desire then to be shifty beveis Hashem kol yemei chayai, that he wanted to always just dwell in the house of Hashem all the days of his life. And it didn't make a difference when he was the king of Israel or whether he was the pauper looking after the sheep. He had the same desire, and that was to be shifty beveis Hashem, to sit in the house of Hashem all the days of his life. And during Elul, this is our chance. This is our chance to know that we also want to be part of Hashem's plan. We want to also feel the joy of, no matter what we're experiencing, to be sitting in the house of Hashem all the days of our life. And there's another verse that says, Ki avi ve'imi azaveni Hashem ya'afeni. Hashem ya'asfeni. And what does that mean? It means even though my mother and my father have left me, God is there still to gather me up. No matter what we go through, no matter how much pain we're in, no matter how much we feel we've been abandoned, there's one thing that's always there, that Hashem hasn't forsaken us. He wants us to be able to connect to Him. He wants us to know that this time period of Elul is a time for looking retrospectively at what we've accomplished throughout this whole year, recognizing the positive things that we've done throughout the year. Not only looking at the difficult, negative things that we've done and that we haven't grown and developed as much as though we should have, but looking at the positive things of what we have done and how much we have grown and how much we've connected ourselves to the mitzvahs and to the Torah. And so this is our chance to revitalize this relationship with Hashem when we dedicate the words of Ani l'dodi v'dodi li, that I am for my beloved and my beloved is for me. And when we crystallize those words, we're crystallizing the relationship that we have with the Creator of the universe. And we're reassessing the centrality of Torah in our lives. We're reassessing exactly what our main purpose of what we're doing in this world is. We're taking a look at what the ikar is, the main thing, and what the tofel, the secondary thing is. We're taking a look and re-establishing what is most important in our lives. And this is the time of Elul, which gains us a renewed perspective of oneself. We are the people of Hashem. We have tremendous responsibility and we have a lot to give. And while it's true that Hashem begins to approach us during Elul, we know that the beloved King who's in the field is wanting us to be there with him much more than he wants to be with us. And so therefore, the essence of Elul is Anila Dodi V'Dodi Li. I need to discover within myself the Ani. I need to see what my essence is, what my individuality is, what my discovery as an identity, as a part of the identity of the Jewish people. I have to identify who my beloved actually is, the Dodi, which is the creator of the universe. And then automatically we will understand how this relationship ties together, and we'll see that I need a Dodi. When I do what I'm meant to be doing, then Hashem reciprocates himself in every possible way, and he brings upon us tremendous blessing. He brings upon us success. He tries to help us whenever he can, and he just wants us to be able to take the first step. And this is the time during Elul which gives us the opportunity to do so. So please God, this is our chance to emulate Hashem,